Hi guys, Chef Kevin Belton here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Now, October 14th, would you believe this is National Dessert Day? Come on, every day should be National Dessert Day, all right? But here's what we're gonna make today, all right? I want you to do something with pecans. Instead of making a pecan pie or something like that, I want you to do something nice, simple, something a little different. Let's make some pecan bars, all right? So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a crust for it. Now there's all different type crusts we can make, all right? So today I'm gonna do a shortbread crust. So basically in the food processor, what I'm gonna do, we have 3/4 cups of flour. I have a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. I have a 1/2 cup of sugar, about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now we're gonna get all of this in. And you see I have the blade in because I just want to pulse this right quick. Now, I've just pulsed it for a second. And we just want to pulse it just to get it mixed in. And cold butter, I've cut the butter in cubes. Basically, we want to pulse this to where it looks like little pebbles, okay? And don't worry, it may look a little dry, but that's all right. Because what we're going to do, we're going to take our crust and press it down into the pan, all right? Now, our pan, I've used parchment paper or you could use foil. Notice I've lined both sides 2 ways because this way, once these are done, it's easier to help pick them up by doing that. So I sprayed a little bit to hold the parchment down. Now I sprayed the inside of the pan. So let's go ahead and get our crust made. Now, guys, our butter is mixed in. And you can't see it really good, but it almost kind of looks like Parmesan cheese, actually. So remember, this is going to be a little dry. So let's take this, all right? Always be careful with your blades. We're going to put this into our pan here. And we want to spread it out and press it down, okay? Now you can use a measuring cup to do this with. I'm just going to use the back of my hand. Make sure you get in the corners. The idea is to try to get it fairly even. Now, I have the oven preheating at 350 degrees. But before this goes in the oven, we want to put this in the refrigerator for about 10 to 15 minutes. The reason we want to put it in the refrigerator for 10 or 15 minutes, that way that butter will firm up, this will solidify, and then we're going to bake it off for about 15 to 17 minutes. So let's go ahead, now that this is pretty much even. See how easy that was? And that's okay if it looks a little dry. All right, so let's go ahead, get this in the refrigerator, then we'll go ahead and bake it off, and I'll show you how we're going to make our pecan filling. Now, you can see I've just taken our crust out of the oven, and so let's go ahead and start working on the filling. And it's okay if our crust is still warm. So what I have a 1.5 sticks of butter, okay, which is roughly about 12 tablespoons. Now, here's an option for you. I have 3/4 cups of packed brown sugar. Now, I'm using a combination of light brown and dark brown. You could just do light brown, you could just do dark brown, totally up to you, but I like the combination. The dark brown has a little more of a bit of a molasses flavor into it. So we're going to get our sugar in. And here we have 3 tablespoons of honey. I have about a teaspoon of vanilla and a good pinch of salt. That's what it is right down in there. That's the salt. So let's go ahead and get this in. Now, basically what we want to happen here, we need our sugar to dissolve. So we need to bring this up to a boil, just roughly, just for a couple of minutes. But the most important thing is for our sugar to dissolve. And once we get our sugar dissolved, then we could go ahead and get our cream and the pecans in. You can see how this has come to a boil. So let's go ahead and turn the fire out so our sugars dissolve. I like to make sure I work the edges of the pot just to make sure. Now, 3 tablespoons of heavy cream. And this is where you have to be careful, because when you're putting that cold cream in, see that? That steam comes up like that. So always be careful when you're putting the cream in. So I've taken 3 cups of pecans. Now I've given them a rough chop, okay? You can chop them fine. You can chop them in big chunks. I have a combination here of some pieces are bigger than others. But look, see, we just mix this in. And now all we need to do is we're going to pour this right into our pan. I was doing it this way so you guys could see it coming out. You're like, what is he doing? Now I'm just going to spread this out. You can see my pecans, some are bigger, some are smaller. All right. So I didn't turn the oven off. Oven is still on. And now it's going to go in 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes. Okay. So let's go ahead, get this in the oven for that 15 minutes. It's just come out of the oven, and I set it here to cool. But look how good this looks. Doesn't it look absolutely fantastic? Now, I want it to totally cool before I try to cut it. And you see, this is why I have the paper both ways, to make it easier to come out. What's nice if you make these, once they cool and you cut them, you could go ahead and freeze them for a few weeks if you want. But you tell you what, I don't think they're gonna last that long. So how about a great way to celebrate dessert day? Or make it every day a dessert day. Thank you so much for cooking with me today. Stay safe, keep washing those hands. For WWL TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we'll see you soon. Hi guys, Chef Kevin Belton here. Hope you're having a great day. Now today is National Cocktail Day. Now, I don't drink, but hey, I know a lot of you all like a good cocktail, so I decided to put a couple of things together. Why not do a dessert? So I'm gonna make a rum coconut cupcake, all right? Now, what I have, I've frothed my eggs a little bit. I have 3 eggs, and I frothed them. I have 1 1/4 cups of coconut milk. Now, y'all know I don't drink. Normally, you could use 3/4 cups of coconut milk with a 1/2 cup of rum, but I'm using all coconut milk, and what I have here is coconut extract and rum extract. Now, you all know when I cook, sometimes I don't measure. With extracts, they are very, very, very strong. You don't want to overdo an extract. So I just need a 1/2 teaspoon of the rum extract, 1/2 teaspoon of the coconut extract. And if you like a rum, you could go ahead and use rum. You can use a light rum or a spiced rum if you like. There's our coconut milk. Now, I'm going to beat this together a little more, but let me show you what I have here. And you could do this from scratch or make it nice and easy because you can get the kids involved. This is vanilla cake mix. And you notice I have some flaked coconut. I have 1/3 cup of flaked coconut on here. So let's just mix this in. And I'm going to take a 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1 stick, get our butter in, and now I have to just cut our butter in to where it kind of looks like pebbles. So this is going to take a few minutes. We'll get this cut in. We'll whip this mixture and then put them two together, and then we'll have our batter for our cupcakes. You can see how we've got our butter cut in. That's what we want, okay? Now let's take our egg and extracts and our coconut milk, get it in, and now all we have to do is mix this. This is going to be for our batter, all right? You can see I have our muffin tin papers lined up. Okay, the oven is preheating at 400 degrees because I'm going to start them off at 400 degrees, bake them for 5 minutes, and then turn the temperature down to 350 and bake them for about 12 to 18 minutes. So get this smoothed out, we'll get our muffin tins filled, and then we'll get them in the oven to bake. Now our muffins have come out of the oven, and as you notice, I like the big muffin top. So let's work on our icing. What I have here is, I should say frosting. What I have here, I've creamed together a cup of butter and a 1/4 cup of shortening. And I've creamed it together for a while. I have 4 cups of powdered sugar, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. I have 1 teaspoon of coconut extract and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'll put in half the powdered sugar, our extracts, half the cream, work that together, then put in the remaining sugar and heavy cream and get that smoothed out. So let's get this frosting made. Now that they've cooled, you can go ahead and decorate them. Now, as you see, I've done some and I've left some without. Totally depends on your taste. Plus, look, little toasted coconut to sprinkle on top. And there we have that. How you like that to celebrate cocktail day? So try this recipe. I really think you're going to like it. Thank you so much for cooking with me today. For WWL-TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we will see you soon. Hi guys, Chef Kevin Belton here. Now today we're going to do something a little different. I can cook. I am not a true baker, but I'm going to attempt to make an Oreo cheesecake. Instead of making a birthday cake for Noah, I'm going to do an Oreo cheesecake. Yes, I had to buy tons of Oreos, and who doesn't like Oreos? So basically what I started with, I took the Oreos, ran them in the food processor, and I ground them up really, really fine, okay? Now, this is something we're going to put in the mixture. But what I did with these first, I took 3 sleeves of Oreos, put them in a bowl. Once they were ground up, I did 6 tablespoons of butter, worked that in really good. Then I put it in my springform pan. Now, I sprayed the pan, and as you can see, I put a piece of parchment paper on the bottom, sprayed everything, pressed. You could take a glass, I took a little mason jar and pressed it all around, put it in the oven, 325 for 8 to 10 minutes, okay? Just enough to get it firm. I took it out, let it cool, then I turned the oven down to 300 because that's what we're gonna bake at, 300 degrees. So our crust is ready, all right? Doesn't that look good? I just wanna eat this by itself. I don't need anything else in it. Now, for our filling in our cheesecake, what I have here, I have 24 ounces of cream cheese. Now, you know, a block of cream cheese normally comes in an 8 ounce pack. So I have 3 of those. I have 3 tablespoons of flour, and I have 1 cup of sugar, okay? Now, let's go to the heavy duty equipment. That's what we got going on over here. And to show you, I don't bake very much. The whisk is great for beating things, and I did one, of course you know I'll make one ahead of time, and I'm looking at why are you using the whisk as opposed to the paddle? So don't use the whisk because things get caught in between. Use the paddle because it's a lot easier to clean. So let's get our paddle on in. Come on, baby. Hop on in. Get in there. Where are you? Come on, here we go. All right. Now, one of the things we're going to do with this, we're going to run this on a low speed. The reason we want to run it on a low speed is because the higher the speed and the faster it goes, the more air gets into it. And you know, and actually Monica loves cheesecake. She likes that dense cheesecake. And to make sure that cheesecake is nice and dense, you don't want a lot of air in it. Okay? Now, I'm going to stop this for a second. I'm going to take our paddle. And this is, when they talk about scraping down the sides, that's all we're doing. You can scrape it off that paddle. Just scrape down the sides so everything gets mixed in really, really well. Okay? And we'll put this back on low. Now, as soon as this gets worked in, what I have here, I have 1 cup of sour cream. That sour cream in here is also going to give us a nice smooth and creamy texture for our cheesecake. And I don't know if you can tell. See, if you look in there, there's still a few little lumps in that, in the cream cheese. But it's just something that I just want to take our time just to not have it go too fast. So we still have that nice texture that we're talking about. Now, I don't know if you guys like cheesecake or not. Every cheesecake is a little different. The slower you whip, the denser it is. If you like that really light, airy cheesecake, you can not only whip it faster, but the other nice thing is whip some egg whites and fold egg whites into it. Folding those eggs right into it will really, really make it nice, airy, and lighter. So let's go ahead and get our sour cream in. Come on, hop on in. And you can see I don't bake that much. If I lowered the bowl, it'd be a whole lot easier to get this in there. And gang, truth be told, everybody always says, oh, it's so great to be married to a chef. Well, I hate to tell you, gang, I don't cook a whole lot at home. Monica normally does all the baking. She's great at baking bread and that kind of stuff. So I'm learning from the best. So again, nice and low and smooth. And we just want this to be long enough to where everything gets mixed in and blended pretty good. So let's just stop it one more time. Let's just scrape those sides down. Actually, you can see the sour cream that when it comes to the top, where you want to make sure to go ahead and push it down so it gets mixed in. And people, some folks may say, hey, why are you taking so long to do this? Well, sometimes with some things, it's just better to take your time as opposed to doing it fast. Now, what I have here, I have 4 eggs at room temperature. And the reason they look a little funny is because I put my vanilla in with my eggs. Now, often they tell you put one egg in at a time. The reason you do that is so that it has time to blend in. So let's see if we can get 1 egg in at a time. And you can see how that's going to get blended in. Just give it a little bit to get mixed in. Now we go to our next egg. And by putting the vanilla in with the eggs, it saves you from having to measure the vanilla earlier. Just do it all at one time. Come on, Mr. Egg. There we go. You can also see how that vanilla is starting to gather around the sides. That's okay. Just take your time. Remember, don't rush this. Let's push those eggs back down in there so they get mixed in. All right. And let's get that last egg in. And remember, gang, the whole reason we're doing this slow and slow is so our filling is nice and dense. But you notice how creamy this is. This is nice, it's smooth, it's getting creamy. If you don't have a mixer like this, you can always use a hand mixer to do it, okay?
How much vanilla?
How much vanilla? 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Now, gang, remember I always say if you like something, add a little more to it. If you want to do a little more vanilla, you can. But basically, that was 1.5 teaspoons vanilla. So we had 24 ounces of the cream cheese, which 3 of the 8-ounce packs. We had 3 tablespoons of flour, just all-purpose flour, 1 cup of sugar, 4 eggs, and 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla. Now let's go ahead and stomp this. I think this is fairly smooth. It's blended pretty good. I think this is good enough. Yeah. All right. Let's show you what I'm gonna do now. Here. Let's go ahead and unplug you. You know, it's always better to be safe. Pick this up, spin it. All right. All right, gang. Now, let me just move this out of the way so I can show you what we're gonna do. We can take out our paddle, and you know, if it wasn't for the raw eggs in here, you know I'd be licking this. But it's better to be safe than sorry. All right? Now, you remember those Oreos that we crumbled? We had some for the crust, but here, we're gonna put these other crumbles in. And now, we just want to fold this in. Now, folding is so that we don't lose the texture of what we have. You know, you don't want to have this maybe over mixed. We don't want to whip air into it. We just want to fold it in. And it's important, if you're using a bowl like this, make sure you get on the bottom. Once we start pouring this in the pan, you're going to notice that the bottom may not be mixed in as well. And we just see how, when I'm digging off the bottom, see how white some of that is? That's okay. We'll get that mixed in, all right?
It was 4 eggs, right?
4 eggs. And you know, I like to have the eggs out at room temperature, if at all possible. But if this is something you decide to make at the last minute, that's okay, all right? Now, gang, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 1/3 of our mixture, put it in the pan, all right? Just kind of spread it out a little bit. Now, I've taken some other Oreos, and you can see I just quartered them. Actually, okay, gang, to tell you the truth, Monica quartered them for me. And it's amazing. The reason I had her do it is because she doesn't really have a sweet tooth. So I knew I wouldn't lose that many Oreos. Because if I did it, you know, I don't think we'd have any Oreos to do this with. All right?
Or Noah.
Or if Noah did it, yeah. But he's going to have this whole thing. All right? After all, it's his birthday. So here, let's go with another 1/3. Just enough to get this layer covered. And you know, I don't like to make this layer too thick because of the fact that if we put a sharp layer on the top, those Oreos are going to come to the top. So here, now we can put a few more in. And you can just kind of spread them out however you like. All right, here, we'll save these first. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do with those. All right. Now we can get this last bit in. All right. Oh, come on, baby. This is one of the great things about a good spatula. That way you don't leave any goodness down in here. We get all of that goodness out of there. Hang on, gang, just give me 1 second.
The recipe will also be included with the video at the top of the post.
Yeah, did you all hear that? Monica said the recipe will be included with the video. All right, don't worry, the recipe is going to be there. All right. Oh, doesn't this look great? All right. Now, here's what we need to do. All right. Here, you get in the sink there. Just wipe my hands off. What I have here, I have foil. And I've just crisscrossed the foil. Set it in the middle. Just kind of bring it up on the sides. The reason I have 2 pieces of foil is because of the fact that, see how short this is here? This second one will bring up and catch the sides. Now we're gonna bake this in a water bath, what they call a bain-marie. That water bath helps keep that cheesecake from burning. It keeps it nice and moist. That moisture keeps it from cracking. If you ever cook a custard, when you put that custard in, the water keeps the custard from burning against the side of the pan. Here, this moisture helps keep it from cracking. So basically, just take your pan, set it in the middle, and use a pan where you have room on the sides. And now we're just going to put water in. Now, if you're not paying attention, you might move this underneath the spigot. Don't do that. Not saying that I've done that before, as in yesterday. All right. Here, let's do just a tad more. All right. Now I have the oven at 300 degrees. Notice, gang, come look, Monty. Gang, see how jiggly this is? We're gonna bake this for an hour, 20 minutes. In an hour, 20 minutes, when we shake it, it's still gonna be a little slightly jiggly in the middle. It won't totally be set, but as it cools, it's gonna finish setting. So let's get this in the oven. All right. Now remember, 300 degrees, 1 hour, 20 minutes, all right? Now, I just like, once it cooks at that hour 20, I look at it, see if it has a little bit of wiggle. I shut the oven off, crack the door, and let it kind of cool in there. Then you can pull it out and put it on the cooling rack and let it cool some more. Leave the foil on it, put it in the refrigerator. 6 hours, I did it overnight, and look what we have. Now, I left the bottom of the pan on. It's on the parchment. And you know, like I said, your edges, look at my edges. They aren't totally smooth, but you know what? That's okay. All right, because it's gonna taste really good. So I had this in the fridge overnight to to chill off. What I'm gonna do now is make a little, what they call a white chocolate ganache. That's just basically, I'm using a heaping cup of white chocolate chips. I have a little cream heating up, a little heavy cream. I have 4 tablespoons of heavy cream heating up, which is basically a quarter of a cup. I'm gonna pour the cream here and mix this in just to get the chocolate chips to melt. Now, if the cream's not hot enough to melt it, I'm just gonna stick it in the microwave just for about 5 to 10 seconds. Just to, oh yeah, this is hot. Oh. Get that cream in. That's just gonna sit there with that hot cream. Now, as we stir this, this should start to melt. And all this is heavy cream and those white chocolate chips. And you know, like I said, if it's not melting really good on you, just put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds. See, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Can you see how it's still kind of chunky in there? It's not exactly smooth where we want it, but I tell you, when you're melting chocolate, it's one of those things where you have to be very careful with it because you don't want to overdo it. So we're just gonna stick this in. We just need about 10 seconds on it, just for it to heat up. Get a little warm for us, but not too hot. Remember, you can always add more time, but you can't take away from it. So let's see where we are now. See, that did it. That did it. See, that melted this really good. Now, normally I would let this cool off for about 5 minutes. because it's a little easier to work with, where it won't melt the top of that cheesecake. But you know what? We're going to wait 5 minutes, because I tell you what, this kind of looks too good. Plus, whipping air into this helps cool it down a little bit to where it's not really that warm now. So we can just kind of, look, take some and just spread it all over the top. Oh, yeah. And you know, this recipe, I have to tell you, is not for the faint of heart. All right? Just spread that all over the top. Oh, come on, we have a little more goodness in here. Oh, yeah. And this is where I have to ask you guys that are watching this, who wants to volunteer to clean this out for me? All right? All right. Before you join me, I had some whipped cream. I whipped up some cream, and like I said, gang, I'm not a baker, so piping takes a little practice. But if you just kind of come down, see I have the little star point on it? And I'm sure a baker would kind of move it as they go around. But remember, it's not so much how it looks. To me, it's about the taste. Now, of course, we want things to be pretty when we eat them. But you know what? That's okay. And if you don't want to make whipped cream from scratch, go ahead and pull out that can out of the fridge and go ahead and, you know, hey, spray it with that can. Now, Noah, if you come here, gang, we're going to bring the birthday boy in, because here's what we're going to do. Noah, if you could go ahead, take the Oreos and just pop them in around. You don't have to do each one, but there you go. Okay. All right. That's where we're going. So instead of having a birthday cake, Noah decided, I said, hey, would you like a birthday cake or would you like a cheesecake birthday cake? And of course, when I said I'm going to do an Oreo cheesecake birthday cake, he says, hey, that will be good with me. That's good to go. Look how pretty this is coming out. I am so proud of myself because, like I said, I don't do a whole lot of baking, but this is looking pretty good. You want to put one more on there? Yeah. Or two more? Yeah, right in there? Yeah. Okay. Now, here, take some of these and just pile them right in the middle. You can just sprinkle them in the middle. They don't have to go, so just pile them. Okay. Yeah. Put them all, pile them all up in the middle. No, you don't have to pile. Just.
Well, you said pile.
I'm sorry. Just spread them out. Just dump them in the middle. There we go. I'm sorry, I did say pile, didn't I?
Yep.
All right. Let me tell you something, gang. 13 years old today. Going into the 8th grade next year. Yay! All right. Hang on. Here's what we got to do. Y'all have to help me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Noah. Happy birthday to you. Now wait. Here you go. Gang, here's our wonderful cheesecake. And you know what? Since it's your birthday, guess what? You don't even have to get a plate. You want to just bite it or dig in there with that spoon? It's up to you, my friend, however you want to do it, because it's your birthday. What do you think? It's good?
Yeah, it's good.
Good. So you think that this will work instead of a regular cake?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So gang, go ahead, get you some Oreos. If you can have some left over, you can put it in the cheesecake, because guess what? Noah's probably going to eat this whole thing by itself, but don't worry, because I have another one in the oven that I'm going to eat all by myself later on. So hopefully when he goes to sleep. All right, we appreciate you watching. We love y'all. Be safe out there. Thank you first responders for all that you do, the doctors and nurses. Take care. We love you. We will see you soon for WWR. I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and
having a happy birthday with Noah with an Oreo cheesecake, baby. There you go. Yummy, yum. We'll see you soon.